Thank you, Q, John, Nick, and Lahore Biennale for having me. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I want to start off by possibly oversharing. I find that's a good way to get things going. People are sometimes disappointed to learn that I don't like to host studio visits. But they don't know there's a good reason for it. My studio is my bed. My studio, study, and office are all to be found under my covers. Sometimes even my dining table is. One could call this laziness, but to me, it's a matter of saving energy for important things, as well as having zero commute time and not needing to make my bed. When I'm lying down and not expending any efforts resisting gravity, my energy can be spent purely on creating, which is how I create what you are listening to now. For many years, I have written proposals, statements, and edited videos, all in my decidedly horizontal studio. It seems I'm not the only one inclined to work that way. A number of well-respected writers were known to write in bed.
Marcel Proust
Famously finished In Search of Lost Time, 1927, in bed. Preface at Tiffany's 1958 author
Truman Capote,
referred to himself as a completely horizontal author, declaring, "I can't think unless I'm lying down."
Edith Wharton,
Said she retreated to bed to escape rigid expectation about what women should wear, suggesting the appealing possibilities that lounging around could be a feminist statement. I agree insofar as I found getting changed too much work. Meanwhile,
William Wordsworth,
wrote his poems in bed while it was pitch dark, starting over whenever he lost a sheet of paper because looking for it was just too much trouble. In a society that constantly tracks and measures performance, workers sit long hours at their desk in front of computers just to prove themselves. We let time-based quantification govern our behavioral cycles like a silent language. Personally, I just can't sit straight for long hours, and some say it's natural. Reclining position of somewhere between 127 to 135 degrees is supposed to put the least stress on the spine. Plus, my thoughts fly when I lie down and look upon the ceiling. Shifting to this position can change the makeup and structure of our perspective and ideas. So for some, including myself, the bed is a place for artistic creation. For many others, it's equally important as a place for procreation. In both cases, it's a site of fertility. Yet we all know it's also a place where life frequently comes to an end.
Of course, we humans were made to move. Like other animals, human beings evolved to regulate their own temperatures, cooling down by sweating and generating heat with calories when cold, partly for this very purpose. It enabled our ancestors to run faster when hunting. I want to linger for a while on the topic of temperature and its regulation. Having a warm temperature itself is an indication of life. Humans no longer produce body heat or cooling mechanisms if they die. But what about our planet? We all know that the planet has been heating up and that this is already taking lives with, among other things, heat-related illnesses. Emissions of planet-warming carbon dioxide from burning coal, natural gas, and oil for energy reached a record 36.8 billion metric tons in 2023.
No one will escape the effects of climate change, but some people are globally situated such that climate change is a more immediate problem for them. Not to mention the serious pollution that leads to such change, which has catastrophic effects on people's life here and now, where we are. However, there are some elsewhere who argue that the world has even more worrying problems. Some pro-natalists say that population collapses due to low birth rates poses a greater risk to civilization globally than climate change. According to them, the data points to a looming crisis. As societies become more economically developed, people tend to have less children. After 200 years of overwhelming population growth, fertility rates almost everywhere are in decline, and in significant number of places, plummeting. An average of 2.1 babies per woman needs to be born for population to remain stable. This might not be a problem here in Pakistan right now, but in England, the fertility rate is currently 1.49. In US, it is 1.6. In China, it's 1.2. Politicians in South Korea have referred to their fertility rate as a national emergency at 0.72. with 0.55 with the capital Seoul. It is the lowest in the world. A study in the leading medical journal, The Lancet, says that if things continue the way that they are currently going, in 2050, 75% of world's countries will have fertility rates that won't allow for their population size to be sustained. And by 2100, there will be global population collapse. Pro-natalist voices warn of the dangers of such a situation and the aging population it will result in. In short, this is said to be creating a pension time bomb. Will not enough young people to support an aging population, whether by directly providing and caring for them, or by paying taxes or contributing to the economic growth.
Legislation, such as the current broad restrictions on abortion in the United States and China's one-child policy that lasted 35 years, only ending in 2015. Then there is insurance regimes such as those also in the US, in which Medicaid beneficiaries can generally get contraception, but not fertility care. Insurers pay for the poor to get birth control and for the rich to get IVF. In both cases, something seems fundamentally out of order.
So what's going on with our social ecology? Are we headed to a world without babies? Which clock is ticking faster, the climate clock or the collective biological clock?
And do illnesses and premature deaths due to pollution factor into the biological clock? Who should decide how many lives should come in this world?
And would certain moves produce more harm to children in exchange for less harm to adults? When we grow old, if we do not depend directly on our own children, we will depend on other people's children.
Does that mean kids will become capital? Baby is a form of currency? Finally, does it not even make sense to talk about having more or less kids without talking about collective actions to produce economic arrangements or organization of societies that allows for the right kind of change?
But back to temperature and self-regulation. Since human bodies can evolve and change quite quickly enough to keep up with changes in environmental temperatures, we design exterior mechanisms to cope, such as air conditioning and fabrics that keep you cool. These mechanisms, which might be thought handy for adapting to climate change, end up contributing to it in part of a vicious cycle. This may all have implications for questions regarding procreation, or its lack thereof in unsettling ways. For not only living creatures, but the earth too seems as if it might be self-regulating when it comes to temperature. Excessive heat, which we know man-made carbon emissions produce, has been found to reduce fertility. And reduced fertility means less people in the future. And that in turn should mean fewer carbon emissions and a reduction in further heating of the planet. Anti-natalist philosophers argue that having children is immoral for a number of reasons, climate change being one of them. And this self-regulating cycle of the Earth might allow it to contribute to population reduction, to preserve itself in the manner advocated by such philosophers. It appears Mother Nature may be forced to perform callous acts with her invisible hand. Or is this her way of sending us SOS signals?
This is my first time presenting work in South Asia. When John Ting first extended the invitation to me to participate in here, it took me a while to respond because I never want to be a helicopter artist. Landing in a place vertically and extracting beautiful images of its features and surroundings to simply insert into my video work. So artists introduced me by email to my current producer, who then connected me to a team of wonderful people. I'm really fortunate to get to work with 3 wonderful female local directors.
Saman Kamran, Iram Sana, and Aisha Surya.
Produced 3 video edits. The best she make present different voices on the relationship between fertility and social ecology. I hope you get a chance to experience the first 3 edits at YMCA. If you haven't, naturally, you should make it the first thing to do tomorrow. I remember when I was talking with Iram Saman, who infertility and miscarriages. She retold an unusual story from her own mom, who spoke a practice of pairing stillborn babies with the babies of other mothers who die in giving birth to other children. This meant putting the dead baby essentially into another womb. The baby and new mothers were then buried together. I'm not sure if this practice should be considered uplifting and beautiful or disturbing. But there is something fascinating about the idea of allowing fertility that has been interrupted in a most tragic way to be fulfilled in another realm, in another dimension. However, we were unable to locate any evidence of it. Don't know whether it might just be a product of her mom's dementia. If so, it would mean that even in such a state and in an old age, she still has a fertile imagination.
It's another fascinating legend contributed by artist Dragana Zarovic from Serbia to Procreation, Post-Creation in 2003. An artist publication organized by the feminism-focused biennial Womanifesto. The artist-initiated project involves a box of personal stories, poems, tales, beliefs, advice, and lullabies that contain thoughts and ideas relating to procreation. It was an early experiment in the use of email to solicit work and put together an artist publication, with 88 artists and non-artists from all over the world contributing to it.
I think what's particularly great and meaningful about it is that it was used as a platform to share deeply held worries and pains that are often suffered silently and go unshared. But I can't help wondering if the issues discussed in it are those that an older generation than my own is more likely to find one of the biggest in their lives. My generation has much greater difficulties reaching the stage of procreation in the first place, at least in East Asia, where I'm from.
To the Womanifesto project is about mother of a newborn baby being sacrificed and buried alive under a castle, but still able to pump out breast milk to feed her baby above it after death. The milk for the baby emerged from the stones for below which she lay, and legend has it that the milk still emerges from them today. Women who have trouble producing breast milk are said to go to the foundations of the Scutari town and consume some of the white liquid dripping off the stones, hoping that it will increase the quantity of their milk. Many elsewhere would no doubt be thrilled to stumble on milk-pumping rocks in their own regions. This tale of disembodied breast pumping makes me think of talk these days about disembodied wombs, or rather artificial wombs. The womb essentially provides the first bed for babies. But how do we feel about using a replacement for it outside of a woman's body in the development of a fetus? Would it involve change in the meaning of motherhood? Would it significantly alter the character of the women involved, even as it allows the shape of their bodies to remain unaltered? Coming back to the idea of the womb as the first bed of a baby, and further back to the idea of the bed as a site of fertility for both artists and would-be parents, I finally want to mention my baby ceramic pillow featured in this exhibition.
Supposedly, if women in old time in China want a good fertility and a healthy baby, they would have a ceramic pillow in the form of a baby made for them. It was believed if they slept on that pillow, it would draw their vital energy to the object of their desire that the pillow took form of, and the object would eventually materialize. Of course, the one you see in the exhibition is a greatly enlarged version. Up to 3 people can lie on it while watching the video project onto the ceiling, the baby supporting them the same way that members of the younger generation in countries with aging populations, particularly in East Asia, might be supporting multiple members of later generation in society.
But as we've been talking about rising temperatures, I also want to consider whether such a pillow might serve as a multidimensional cooling technology. It's multidimensional because it aims to cool us in the realm of dreams, as well as this one, by allowing us to encounter the object we yearn for there, and thus no longer leaving us burning endlessly with desire. Even in this dimension, however, it cools in more ways than one. The first way, wherein it cools down the body of those who lie on it, was already intended by those who created it long ago. That's obvious enough. Yet they would never have anticipated the potentially much larger cooling effect this could in turn generate in our modern society. For a naturally cooling pillow might free us in many cases of the need for air conditioning while sleeping, and this itself might significantly reduce carbon emissions that contribute to global warming.
The ultimate blessing that such pillows potentially bring, however, occurred to us when we think again about the way excessive heat can reduce fertility in men and women. How this might be part of the Earth's ways self-regulating when it comes to temperature, Mother Nature's invisible hand. Ceramic pillow might well aim fertility as originally intended in a scientifically verifiable way. Thus, like to humbly propose is like a potential valuable virtual innovation or virtuation for our times.
Rest now while you can, for all too you'll be in dreamland. There'll be no time to close your eyes, let alone time for lullaby. We had our pillows look like you, so to make our dreams come true. Dreams that we would not grow old without ever a child to hold. You propped us up so we slept sound before you even were around. And we expect you'll do the same as soon as you can say your name. What's that you say now? What about you? Don't you deserve your own prop too? Where's your pillow? Where's your bed? Where to lay your own weary head? We gave you one with plenty of room, was that space known as the womb, and there you had sufficient rest, while not the time to do your best. Support your elders as you should, the way we always hoped you would.
As you can see, thinking about my bed as a site of creation triggered plenty of serious and somewhat uncomfortable association for me. So I just want to end by saying, don't be offended if your request for a studio visit with me got rejected. While now you know that I'm a totally horizontal artist, I'm still happy to get a coffee somewhere else sitting upright. Thank you.